Habari gani familia angu? This is Eli-Ben-Eli, mimi ni Eli-Ben-Eli. Karibu. And I hope each and every one of you is having a happy holiday season. I hope each and every one of you is having a happy Sunday, and I hope your weekend has been very good. I wanted to touch on a few subjects. I have seen the fiasco and calamity that is occurring with Marwa and Steve J1, and how do I feel about that? Well, I'll tell you. When I was in high school, there's something that people would sometimes do to a child that they didn't like. They would put a sign on the person's back saying, "Kick me." Okay, and I always felt really bad about that kind of thing. I always felt bad because a lot of the time the person wouldn't even be aware that he had a sign on his back saying "kick me." But other students thought that it was funny, and they would come up and kick the person. I don't believe in that. However, when a person voluntarily puts a sign on his or her back that says "kick me," and they get kicked, Steve voluntarily went to Marwa with a gift of equipment for Wi-Fi and everything, and he did it. Why? He did it because he wanted to suck up to Marwa. He wanted Marwa to give him shout-outs and everything. I don't think that Steve is like a strongman 254. I don't think that he asked for any payments or whatever. Okay, and guess what? He got exploited by Marwa. And the sad thing about it is that when sanity returned, and he said to Marwa, "My children and my wife need me. I need to go be with them." Marwa turned on him. Marwa is now accusing him of being cornering, and basically has turned on him. He's even accusing him of having stolen a phone. And you want to know what? I'll tell you something about that accusation. If you surround yourself with people who are not rich, they're ordinary people who need money, and because of their need, and all the while you're receiving presents from the left, from the right, people are just giving you presents. If those people start resorting to being criminals, to stealing, to doing whatever they have to do to survive, whose responsibility is that? But at the same time, my attitude is that Steve strikes me as being a man. He strikes me as being very, very sensible. He's not like he's not as brainwashed as Strongman 254. Steve should have had enough common sense to realize that there was only one way that this whole thing was going to end up. He has a young family, he has a young wife, children, and Marwa is the kind of person who, for whom there's only one important person, one person who has needs that are of concern to him, and that's Marwa. He should have realized that at some point or the other, Marwa was going to turn on him. And the other thing is this. I noticed something. I don't know the name of the two men who are supposed to be replacing Steve, but Marwa was urging them to make sure that they started a YouTube channel. And the thing about that is that it fascinates me, because it's like he is obsessed with getting people to enter into his paradigm. His paradigm is become a YouTuber. I'll shout you out. Your channel will grow. You will prosper. And that's like a spider's. His paradigm is like a spider's web. Once you enter into that, that way of thinking, you're under his control. Because he knows that if you begin a channel, if you begin going through all of that nonsense to have a channel under the blessings of Marwa, the minute that you fail to obey him, he can withdraw all of that and collapse your channel. When Steve told him that he wanted to go home, he wanted to see his family, he, any sane man, any normal human being, any person who wasn't being influenced by the devil, if a man is missing his family, he has children, he has a wife and everything, and he says, I want to go see my family, he will tell him go. But Marwa tells him, no, don't leave. I need for you to be here, blah, 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 blah. And has dragged the man's name through the mud, called him all kinds of things. And Steve is trying to preserve whatever the little bit of nothing that he got out of Marwa by refusing to enter into a confrontation with him. He's still trying to be Marwa's friend. Strongman 254, on the other hand, something happened, and I don't know how it worked out. Either the wife decided enough is enough. If you can't bring Muhammad to the mountain, bring the mountain to Muhammad, and she packed up her children and showed up, and it's being ostracized when she gets there. She's having to talk to him outside of the Villa Medillin, the Thrilla Villa in the Kenyan Manila, ruled by he who walks among the clouds, he who causes the corn to grow, he who walks with the tallness of the trees. Of course, I'm talking Marwa in his imagination. But the point is that this guy is so incredibly selfish that his attitude is, I don't care if I destroy a man's family. And if his family better not try to compete with me in his mind. I don't know if any of you know this, but in the United States we have something called the American Mafia. And it's basically made up of Italians. But when a man becomes a member of the Mafia, he is told, as of this moment, as of the moment that you join the Mafia, and a lot of cults say the same kind of thing. If your mother, father, or wife is in bed dying, and we tell you to come, you don't go to your dying mother. You don't go to your dying father. You don't go to your family. You come to us. We come first. Okay, and that's the cult mentality of the Marwa YouTube cult. It's like if the Grand Poobah, the exalted Lord of Punjab, tells you, don't go home. Forget your wife and children. Stay here. You stay there, and you serve him like a good little slave. And I don't know if you've been watching the videos, but the crowds are beginning to thin. Not as many people are there anymore. Not as many people are there anymore. And then the other thing is this. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, was that 2,000 foreign visitors, 2,000 Mazungus were supposed to come there. And my understanding is that the helipad was going to be in service. I think one of the people who's there is supposed to be knowledgeable about operating a helipad, and they were going to be welcoming flights, helicopter flights from Nairobi and Mombasa, and people were going to be coming from around the world to come to celebrate with Marwa and his LGBT cute party, and people. It was just gonna be an event. Even the Kenyan president was going to come, and folks, I think I have counted maybe a grand total of about. Let me say this: there have been a small number of people from places like Tanzania, Uganda, and everything. But as far as Asians, as far as Europeans and Americans are concerned, number one, there have been a handful of white Mzungus that have come. Okay, a handful, and the black Mzungus that have come, the black foreigners that have come from the United States or from England or whatever, not even 10. There haven't been that many people. What am I saying? What I'm telling you is that party has been a flop. Okay, and Marwa confessed something, which I give him credit for. We're convinced that Marwa is always going to lie. No, he told the truth about something. He told the truth about something for once. In an unguarded moment, he said something to the effect of, "Man, that other plumber really messed me up." Apparently, sewage is coming out of the ground, and they're having to dig a trench around the house to try to get that sewage away from the front of the place in the house in which a lot of people tend to congregate. Okay? The next time, if someone ever tells you, "I'm going to install a septic system in which we're going to dig a small hole of 2 chambers, and one of the holes is going to be filled with absorbent rock, and when the first chamber overflows into the second chamber, the rocks are..." Know that you're dealing with a con man. Know that you're dealing with somebody who basically has concluded that you are a fool and is trying to take advantage of you. By the way, where is the brilliant engineer, the student of engineering who possibly studied in China, India, the Soviet Union, and at various schools of engineering throughout the world? Where is he in the middle of all of this? It's like my understanding from what Steve 1 is saying. Strongman 254 is saying. Strongman 254 says that he has allegedly he's confronted the engineer and has told him, "You are a site manager. You are a project manager. You're not really an engineer," or something to that effect. I know that I'm paraphrasing whatever it is that he has said, but the point is this: somebody at some level, at some point, has to be accountable for the incredibly big disaster that this construction site has proven to be. Look at Marwa very carefully, and you can't hold him responsible. Marwa doesn't really know anything about building. He likes to claim that he built Mama Ann's house in 10 days or whatever. Actually, it was about 4 weeks that it took. And by the way, Marwa didn't build anything. A person who designed the house and the person who led others in building the house was mostly Mayugano. Marwa didn't build it. Marwa doesn't know anything about building. Okay, even if he tries to protect the engineer by taking the credit or the blame on himself by saying that he's the person who he has no manager, everybody answers to him. Clearly that is rubbish on his face, okay? Because if that was the case, why would he have had the engineer there at all? The engineer has, they say something. Who is it that said it? I forget the person who said it, but I think it was a French philosopher by the name of Descartes. Descartes, he said something to the effect of, the greatest feat that the devil ever pulled was claiming he doesn't exist, or persuading the world that he doesn't exist. What exactly is this engineer doing there? I mean, he claims to be this knowledgeable master of building. He has an opinion about everything in the world. But you want to know something? If you're responsible primarily for something, that means that if anything goes wrong with that, you have to take the blame. Have you heard him take the blame for anything? No, he does not. Have you heard him take the blame for the disaster with the plumbing? No, he does not take. Have you heard him take responsibility for the big screw up with the septic system? Absolutely not. Has he taken responsibility for the colossal failure that has happened with the so-called fish pond or fish tank or whatever around the villa? No, that's not his fault. Everything is somebody else's fault. Okay? If everything that happens is somebody else's fault, then you are doing nothing to remedy this situation, and you're supposed to be an engineer, and you're supposed to be managing construction, then what role are you playing? You know, it's like, I'm going to say something that's going to shock some of you. I feel an incredible amount of pity for Marwa, and I'm going to tell you why. Marwa is a village boy who is blind in one eye. Marwa is a village boy who basically has gone around the world and has traveled to how many hundreds of countries and everything, but at the end of the day, you know, it's like I'm coming to understand that being a traveler is being a fool, okay? Why are you traveling to these countries if you learn absolutely nothing, if you do not engage in any business? It's like, it's almost like the novelty of being able to say, oh, I've been to this country. What have you gotten out of it? When Marwa goes to these countries, has he learned anything? Has he sat down with people and learned about their culture? Has he learned about their food, their music? He hasn't done that. He goes around the world and searches for places where he can eat pretty much exactly the same food that he eats at home. He has learned absolutely nothing from all of this. Marwa is a bumpkin. Marwa is still a village boy, a local yokel from Nyabo, from the exalted kingdom of Nyabo Hansit. He has learned nothing from all of that travel. Okay? So when the thing is, when a country boy, a village boy, comes into contact with a hustler and a conman and a real scammer, Marwa thinks that he's a scammer. That engineer is the real thing. And he basically took a one-eyed man, a man who's partially disabled, blind in one eye, not really, if you listen to Marwa, Marwa is something of a he's something of a fool. Let's just call it. All of the nonsense that he has to say about how he doesn't want a black woman, that he wants a Mazungo woman, he's making a fool out of himself. Do you for 1 minute think that young man who is with him, Rocio Cabrera, is going to stay with him for very much longer? This is a novelty to her. She came on a vacation. She got treated like a goddess and everything, but, pardon me, I promise you something. The point is coming very soon when she will get on a plane, go back to her life, and suddenly stop taking any more calls from Marwa. She's going to go back to her. She's not interested in marrying Marwa. She's not interested in having children for Marwa. None of that stuff. And time will prove that I am right about that. And as far as all of those people that are around him are concerned, I see the beginning, I see the end from the beginning. I think that if Marwa is not careful, he's going to do what he's done to Steve to the wrong man. And one of those men is going to give them the thrashing of his life. I hope that doesn't happen because I feel sorry for Marwa. Marwa is a one-eyed man. And there's a lot to pity and be compassionate about because of his condition. But he's living in a dangerous world and he's playing a lot of dangerous games. Somebody out of all of those people around him might get upset enough with him to seriously hurt him. And I hope that doesn't happen. Folks, I'm getting ready to get off of here. Let me tell you something that I have learned. You know, somebody got on and made a comment, and I wish I remember the person's name. Whatever your name is, please forgive me. They pointed something out that all of you should know. And that is that effective August 2023, YouTube changes monetization policy. YouTube no longer requires you to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of view time, and that you meet the community standards. That part has remained unchanged. Now, what YouTube is requiring is that you have a minimum of 500 subscribers, 3,000 hours worth of viewers over the last 12 months, and obviously that you meet the community guidelines. And if you do that, they'll monetize you. So if you have 500 or more subscribers, you should look into this. But anyway, if you haven't liked this video and subscribed, please like and subscribe. Please help my channel to grow. I'm kind of stalled right now. My channel is not, I haven't added any new subscribers. So I need each and every one of you who has not subscribed to go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And please help me to continue growing. And please help me to transition to 1,000 and even more than that. In the meantime, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday. Hanukkah Semiach and Shavua Tov. And let us pray that God bring about peace in the Middle East. I love each and every one of you. Familia Angu, Kwaheri.